it's Marina, Travel Experta. Today we're going to be talking about Fort Lauderdale International Airport. Are you guys ready for an adventure? Let's begin. Fort Lauderdale International Airport, which is actually in Hollywood, which is a little bit outside of the main city of Fort Lauderdale. We're talking maybe like 15 minutes away. Everything around that area is quite close to one another. Is quickly growing as a much larger international hub. Although obviously Miami International Airport is the main airport, Fort Lauderdale does have a lot of international flights flying in. What I like about Fort Lauderdale way more than Miami is that it's smaller. It only has 4 terminals. They're not excessively huge and really complicated to get around because in Miami, from one terminal to another could take you like 20, 30 minutes. Not in the case of Fort Lauderdale. So Fort Lauderdale, as I was saying, it is an international airport. It's a huge domestic hub as well, where you could take a lot of domestic flights as well. How to get to or how to get from Fort Lauderdale Airport? Obviously, the most given forms is renting a car, having a shuttle if you're staying in some hotel, pick you up, Uber, but you could also take the train, which is such an incredible convenience because the thing is with Florida, a lot of people fly in to that area of Florida, Southern Florida, but they are a couple of hours away, right? If you're going north, let's say all the way up through the Palm Beaches areas, Boca Raton, all of those, and even a little bit inland, we're talking a good hour away and there's no planes, right? So the traffic could be pretty immense if you can avoid if you can avoid driving and you just want to be in a train. The Tri-Rail is the best there is. Honestly, first of all, you have to go to it's between Terminal 1 and Terminal 2 is one stop, and between Terminal 3 and Terminal 4 is another stop for the shuttle, which is completely free, that will bring you to the Tri-Rail train station. And from there, you could go south to Miami or north going past West Palm Beach. And usually the tickets are between $5 to $10, super well priced, super cheap, and they run every 30 minutes. And it's the same exact thing if you are planning on coming to Fort Lauderdale International Airport. Excuse me, you could take the train as well there, and then the shuttle is waiting for you right as you arrive. It'll bring you to whichever terminal you need with those 2 stops, and the terminals are within 2 minutes of walking of each of those. If you are renting a car, make sure that you arrive a little bit beforehand so that you have enough time to return the car and then either walk or take a shuttle depending on where your car rental is, and obviously with the Uber and whatnot. I always recommend to arrive to an airport around 3 hours before when you're flying out. One thing with Fort Lauderdale, the customs when you do arrive to Fort Lauderdale have become notoriously long. So make sure that you have a long enough connection in between your flights. An hour and a half will not work. I don't think it works anywhere anymore, but it really does not work there. Okay, sometimes we've been stuck in customs for over an hour. So they are trying to get it together, but it is still a little bit unorganized. Just remember, I would recommend at least between 2 or 3 hour time span between your connections. Other than that, Fort Lauderdale is really easy to get around. It's quite simple. Interestingly enough, another main difference between Fort Lauderdale and Miami is that Miami is predominantly Spanish. It always amazes me that a lot of the people that are staffed there barely speak English because obviously that's the clientele, the people that are coming through. Fort Lauderdale, I've never heard that issue before. So that's just a little tiny thing to keep in mind. Okay, if you guys have any other questions about airports, I have a whole series on different airports and little hacks for you to be able to use when you are traveling in these different airports. And if you have any other questions, you could go to my website, travelexperta.com, travel expert with an A.com. And remember to make every day an adventure.